We're going back to 1987, I believe it is, with the new Amazon Prime movie, Totally Killer. I brought the expert in time travel movies. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
We're going to talk now about Totally Killer. Hey guys, Dan here, and like I said, it's our buddy Tim. Welcome back, Tim.
Welcome.
We rarely have you for a new movie, but this dropped, and I actually watched it like opening weekend on Prime.
I watched it like maybe a week late.
And I thought Tim is the person to talk to about Totally Killer for so many reasons. Number one, like me, Back to the Future is one of your favorite movies.
It's my favorite.
And it's my second favorite, and it plays prominently into this movie.
Save the clock tower.
He's got and that's from the musical that you just saw on Broadway.
Yeah.
So I definitely have to try and see that. So what else? We'll talk about the movie first. If you are new to Dan Reviews It, welcome. When we do movie reviews, we don't do spoilers really, so feel free if you haven't seen Totally Killer yet to watch this and then kind of judge, for yourself your opinions. But this is streaming right now on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And this is in cooperation with Blumhouse.
Okay.
And they do a lot of movies. Feel like every October there's like 3 or 4 Blumhouse Amazon mashups that we get. And small spoiler for my grade, I think this is the best one that they have released. I don't know how many, if any, that you've seen.
I can't recall which ones they do for Amazon.
But like Bad Hair was one they did last year that I
Okay.
thought was pretty good, or maybe 2 years ago. There's been like a few that I've seen. I haven't watched all of them. Some of them are a little more hit or miss, but anyway, so the conceit here is that this gal, played by Kiernan Shipka, who is Sabrina on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
4 seasons.
What else did she do though? She's done something else like pretty big.
I couldn't find anything that's super big.
Okay, I think that's like her main thing that people know her from. But anyway, so her mother's friends were killed in the 80s by the Sweet 16 killer.
Yeah.
Her mom played by Julie Bowen. And through some circumstances, we find out that maybe the Sweet 16 killer is back. And so, unbeknownst to her, she ends up traveling back into time herself to 1987. Where she meets her mom as a teenager and her friends and all of this, and gets there just a couple days before the killings happen.
Yeah.
So not only is she in this, but Julie Bowen plays the mom. We have as the cops Randall Park, who we love, and I don't know who the other cop is. But who else? Olivia Holt plays her mother as a teenager.
Yeah. She's known for Cruel Summer, the first season of that.
Oh yeah.
She was on this one show called Cloak and Dagger for a couple seasons.
Okay.
Was like a comic
was that
book.
Netflix maybe?
No, I think that was Freeform or whatever that it was called.
So
at the
she's
time.
Miss Freeform, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also have Lachlan Monroe. He plays her dad. He you probably wouldn't know the name, but as soon as I saw him, I know him.
He's
for so
doing
many
100 things.
Most recently, he was in Peacemaker.
Oh yeah.
He was in Scary Movie. He was what I recognized him right for. I'm like, that's the guy from was it Dead Man on Campus?
Oh yeah, I've never seen Dead Man on Campus, but that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's plot wise. I think that's probably all we'll say. But I will say this was directed by I always pronounce this wrong. Natasha Khan.
Yep.
And she created 2 very great series for ABC. One featuring Randall Park, Fresh Off the Boat, and the other one, Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. But she did not direct those. She just created them. So as far as I know, this is maybe her first time directing.
No, she directed something else. I forget what it was.
Okay.
But that also had Randall Park in it.
Oh, okay.
But she also co-created Young Rock.
Oh, okay. Recent NBC entry. All right.
Yeah.
So she gets around. So look, you are Mr. Time travel movies. You love them. And this actually reminded me, as I was watching it, it reminded me a little bit of this movie that you love from a few years ago called Palm Springs. There wasn't necessarily time travel in that, but it was like the Groundhog Day repetition effect or whatever. Time loop.
Yeah.
And the reason it made me think of you is because, I feel like a lot of times I judge these movies a little bit more harshly, maybe because maybe they're not Oscar caliber
Yeah.
or whatever. But the truth is, Palm Springs is an excellent movie.
Yes.
I think I gave it a B plus, but that's I think probably too low. So I had a pretty open mind while watching this, and it's a comedy, it's mystery, it's horror. It's a lot of things in one, which I think Palm Springs was as well.
Yeah. So I would describe this as Back to the Future meets Scream.
I think that's a good description.
So it's
because it's a bit meta.
Yeah, it's funny, it's fun. It might be a little cheesy at times, but it's also very clever, and it kept me guessing of who the Sweet 16 killer actually is.
Yeah.
So I think it was smart. Made a lot of commentary on how people were raised in the 80s versus now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were funny, but maybe
was it too many?
Maybe it was too many.
I thought so. Maybe 2 or 3 too many. We got it.
We got it. But I mean,
I really like when every time she goes to the cops, they didn't know what DNA was, all this stuff that she kind of takes for granted today, and they are kind of inept in that regard. Which I thought was funny.
Playing on the dumb cop trope a lot.
Yep.
But I mean, it was fun. It was clever.
And a lot of specific references to Back to the Future.
Yes.
I love when she first meets them. She's like, "Have you seen Back to the Future?" They're like, "No."
Yeah.
But then she asks the teenager, she's like, "Of course."
Yeah.
So I like that they were specifically kind of going into that.
Yeah, and I thought, I think, was it Kiernan
Shipka? Yeah.
Shipka. I mean, she's a great young actress.
She was great in this.
She was great. She had great chemistry with Olivia Holt, who plays her young mom. With her friend, I don't have her name down here. But actually, I guess it's
her mom's friend.
Her mom or her friend's mother is who.
Right. That's right.
So it's her current friend, her best friend, her mom
as a kid
is a kid.
Yeah.
Because they were both kind of scientists, the brain people, and that's what the time machine.
And it turns out her mom was the mean girl of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I did not watch Sabrina. I hear it was great. I didn't see it.
I think I kind of got over it a little bit. I think I watched maybe 2 seasons.
Okay.
But I didn't watch all 4 seasons.
I feel like I have seen her in something also more recently though. Well, she was in Mad Men. I didn't watch that either. But Riverdale, that makes sense. Oh, she was in the feud with Betty Davis and Joan. I did watch that. But all right, so I've seen her in a couple of things. But yeah, nothing that necessarily sticks out. But yeah, I mean, she's great in this. Yes. She's the perfect person for it because she has that sort of. It actually reminds me a little bit, and this is from I guess. Because it's Blumhouse, is kind of the same producer, whatever, of Happy Death Day.
Yes.
Which is another time loop movie, but she reminds me of kind of the lead actress in that.
Jessica Roth.
Okay, Jessica Roth, thank you. In kind of balancing that, horror meets comedy.
Yeah.
Meets sort of meta humor a little bit, kind of thing. And I think, which, if you've not seen Happy Death Day, that's a really good one, too. Both of the Happy Death Day movies are good.
Did Blumhouse do Freaky as well? Because I kind of got.
Thank you. That was the other movie I was thinking of with this.
Did they do Freaky?
I think they did.
Okay.
That was not Amazon. I think that was maybe Hulu, but I think that is a Blumhouse.
That went to theaters. So.
Oh, that's right. But that was during pandemic, so it went a little bit to theaters, I think, but mostly I don't know. But yes, that's a great movie with Vince Vaughn. Gave that one an A-. That was a take on Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think really so much worked about this. My only real complaints are, yes, maybe they go a little too hard on the meta humor. And my other thing would be, the kills weren't necessarily that creative or interesting. There were a couple maybe, but for the most part, I thought they were pretty routine.
But I think that was the MO.
Was that the point?
The MO of the killer. I mean, when your MO is to stab someone 16 times,
I guess how creative can you be? That's a good point.
But I think they got a little bit creative with some of the stuff,
as the movie goes on, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I liked they really kind of broke down the whole time travel thing. They talked about time travel movies. They talked about, that sort of stuff. I thought that was really funny. And it kind of made sense. I think
all time travel movies will have, you have to have, a little bit, kind of just accept it because there's going to be like
Yeah,
plot
there's going to
holes
be a couple of plot holes every time.
because it's time travel and time
Yeah.
travel doesn't exist, and when
Yeah.
you try to think about it too hard, you're like, wait, why is this like I don't
Well, like
get,
when her friend
like,
said at the one point, "Oh, well, that's the one thing Back to the Future got wrong,"
Yeah,
you know, and then she
yeah.
kind of explains that.
But I mean,
Um,
it's time travel. You just kind of like just have to accept that time travel exists in these movies.
Yeah,
But I think they like. I don't know, like there's a handful of bad time travel movies, but I think this is a good time travel movie.
yeah, I do as well, and I think it's a good comedy.
Yeah,
And I think it works as a horror movie. I
Yeah.
don't think it's the best horror movie I've seen, but in terms of horror comedy, I think it's certainly
I
up
mean,
there for the year.
I would put it on par with like Scream. I don't think Scream is very horror-y. I mean,
I guess not.
I think it has some horror.
That was one of the
elements.
first ones I saw in the theaters that
Yeah.
was a horror movie, so it scares me,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it has a few jump scares and horror
Yeah.
elements, but it's not like Friday the 13th or
yeah.
like
I don't know. The
Nightmare on
kill
Elm
at the beginning of Scream is pretty intense, Tim.
Street. It is
When we think about that, which they talk about, and it's funny because,
Yeah.
of course, no one in '87 knows what Scream is.
Yeah.
So she has to try and explain
Yeah.
that. I think overall this was a real home run for Amazon and Blumhouse. They put a lot of theatrical movies out too. They did, I think, that horrible Nun movie, and so this is, I think, for the year maybe their best that they've put out.
yeah.
Should we go to the grades? Is there anything else we want to say about this?
Do you think there's going to be a sequel?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would like there to be.
I don't know how it would work, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean maybe.
I didn't personally. I didn't think they could pull off a good sequel to Happy Death Day, and they did.
And they actually did,
They
yeah.
a great
It-
Happy Death Day
it-
too.
yeah.
I'm still waiting for a third one.
Yeah,
but
that would be good.
I think it's too far past.
That's probably true. I don't know. I mean, I think they certainly could do one.
Okay.
I feel like this movie's been pretty well received.
yeah.
So
I just
maybe
I don't understand how Amazon makes money off like movies and stuff.
I
like
don't
that.
either.
Like,
I
and then
really
they
don't.
Just put it on their streaming service.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
I don't
people-
get it.
People have it anyway. Like,
You're just gonna, yeah. I don't think anybody's signing up for Amazon to watch this. Or if they do, they'll just get their buddy's code or whatever for the day. But in any event, God bless them for making it.
Yeah.
But I really think this is one of the better horror movies of the year. Certainly in that kind of high range. We've talked about a lot of other good movies. Freaky, Palm Springs, Happy Death Day. I think this is kind of right in there in that wheelhouse. I leave Totally Killer with an A-.
I also give it an A-.
Yeah, very good. So there you go. You can check it out streaming now on Amazon. And Tim, thanks for joining.
Yeah, and you definitely should.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.